Islam. This is Brother Nun Nagi, and let's get started with another Sunday School. All right. So, as usual, we stand feet in a 45-degree angle, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. We're about to say the Moorish American prayer. You can repeat after me or say it with me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Ali. Ameen. Ameen. All right, Moors Islam. So, as usual, we are going to get started with the 101s and going through them. And today, we're going to take our time today with this. So, because we got a lot of ground to cover today, so let's just get into it. All right, number 1, who made you? Answer, Allah. 2, who is Allah? Answer, Allah is the Father of the universe. 3, can we see him? The answer is no. 4, where is the nearest place we can meet him? Answer, in the heart. 5, who is Noble Drew Ali? Answer, he is Allah's prophet. 6, what is a prophet? Answer, a prophet is a thought of Allah manifest in flesh. 7, what is the duty of a prophet? Answer, to save nations from the wrath of Allah. 8, who is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Answer, Noble Drew Ali. Number 9, what year was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? Answer, 1913 AD. 10, where? Answer, Newark, New Jersey. 11, where was Noble Drew Ali born? Answer, in the state of North Carolina, 1886. 12, what is his nationality? Moorish American. What is your nationality? Moorish American. 14, why are we Moorish Americans? Answer, because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. Islam. Let me just put a little bit more emphasis on that. I'm going to read it again. 14, why are we Moorish Americans? Answer, because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. 15, for what purpose was the Moorish Science Temple of America founded? Answer, for the uplifting, of fallen humanity, not the suppression. For the uplifting of fallen humanity. Islam. That was number 15. Moving on, we got number 16. How did the Prophet begin to uplift the Moorish Americans? Answer, by teaching them to be themselves. 17. What is our religion? Answer, Islamism. 18. Is that a new or is that an old-time religion? Answer, old-time religion. 19. What kind of flag is the Moorish? Answer, it is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. 20. What do the 5 points represent? Answer, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it's put in that way for a particular reason. We can get into that in other lessons, but keep in mind the 5 principles or the 5 points of the star, and the green 5-pointed star in the middle of the flag that we call the Moorish flag. They stand for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Very, very, very simple. Very simple. 21. How old is our flag? Answer, it is over 10,000 years old. Islam. And for those who, they've got the add-up version, we know there's 50,000. 22. Which is a difference of about 40,000 if you can't do the math on that. But anyway, 22, which is our holy day? Answer, Friday. 23, why? So why is Friday the holy day? Answer, because Friday is the day on which man was formed in flesh. And it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh. Islam. 24, who was Jesus? Answer, he was a prophet of Allah. 25. Where was he born? Answer, in Bethlehem of Judah in the house of David? Islam. 26. Who were his father and mother? Answer, Joseph and Mary. 27. When you give in brief the line or genealogy through which Jesus came? Answer, some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. 28. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? Answer, to save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. Islam. Number 29. How long has that been? Answer, about 2,000 years ago. Islam. And just for reference, let me just pause for the calls 1 second. All right, so we're back. And as I was reading that, I was thinking back to this exotic map of the U.S. featuring towns that actually exist. And if you notice here in the territory that's commonly known as Texas, you'll see Palestine is on the map. All right. So going back to the question. All right, we're looking at 28. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? To save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. All right, so keep in mind this Palestine in the quote-unquote Asia Sur, Asia Major, depending on how you're looking at the map, or it's connected that, as a part of Africa or Kibulan, as well as there being a Palestine over here in, Northwest Mexico, Northwest Africa, all right, North America. So, do some more research to be clear as to what we're talking about here. All right, but we'll get into these geography lessons later, or geographic, disputes, I should say. 29. How long has that been? Answer, about 2,000 years ago. 30. What was the nationality of Ruth? Answer, Ruth was a Moabitess. All right. 31. What is the modern name for the Moabites? Answer, Moroccans. All right. 32. Where is the Moroccan Empire? All right, this is a very important question for today's lesson. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Let me back up and read 31 again. Or let me start out from 30. What was the nationality of Ruth? All right, so if Ruth is the great grandmother, and is in the line of the genealogy for Yahshua, or who's commonly known as Jesus, Ruth by Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. All right, that's 27. So jumping down to 30, what was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. All right, so if Ruth was a Moabitess and she's the great-great-grandmother, and we're talking about the matriarchy, and Jesus coming by Mary, Mary would be a Moabitess too? Yeah, she would be. And if the womb that you come through determines your nationality or your bloodline lineal descent, that would by birthright make Jesus the same thing, i.e. a Moabite. All right, so let me read 30 again. What was the nationality of Ruth? Answer, Ruth was a Moabitess, so a female Moabite, or feminine Moabite versus a male Moabite. 31. What is the modern name for the Moabites? So the modern name for Moabites, answer, Moroccans. All right, that's 31. 32. Where is the Moroccan Empire? And again, this is very important for today's lesson. Where is the Moroccan Empire? The Moroccan Empire is at northwest of Mexico. All right. 33. What is the modern name for Mexico? The modern name for Mexico is Africa. So that's why earlier I said, this is Northwest Africa. Northwest of Mexico. All right. 34. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Answer, Sultan. All right. And this soul, tan, do the etymology on that, and you'll find something else in today's lesson as well. So just these are just little caveats, little breadcrumbs for you guys as we move forward today with today's demonstration. 35. Where do we get the name Jesus from? And the answer, and I'm paraphrasing the question here, but the answer is from the East. All right. It says, where do we get the name Jesus? Answer, from the East. All right. 36. What does the name Jesus mean? Answer, Jesus means justice. All right. We know that that's a code word for those who don't, understand what the name Jesus means. It really means justice when you really break it down. Islam. So moving forward, 37. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Answer, yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin. All right. 38. What is an angel? Answer, an angel is a thought of Allah manifested in flesh. 39. What are angels used for? Answer, to carry messages to the four corners of the world, to all nations. All right, so keep in mind, 39 correlates with the statement of the prophet and the charge of the prophet to take his message and take the movement to the, the four corners of the world, or to the hedges and the highways, Islam. If you're looking at, the charters from these particular people in power, they call themselves Grand Sheiks and Sheikesses of the Moorish Science Temples of America, Moorish Holy Divine and National Movement, Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, so on and so forth. Old Canaanite Temple. And I know I said Moorish Holy Temple of Science twice, but, it has to be reiterated for those who, may not be paying attention. But we're going to keep going. And y'all have to pardon me because I'm thinking about a lot of things right now as I'm reading this, and I'm trying to, measure my words so that we can get all the information out today and try to get through it and cover as much ground as humanly possible. Or as time allows for today. So let's keep going. 39. What are angels used for? Answer, to carry messages to the four corners of the world, to all nations. 40. What is our prophet to us? Being Moors, all right? Or Moorish Americans. Answer, he is an angel of Allah who is sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. All right, 41. What is the everlasting gospel? Answer, it is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. Islam. 42. All right. Just make note 41, the circle 7. All right. This is a part of the works and deeds that we have from the Prophet Nawaj Ali to know of the everlasting gospel of Allah. All right. So that we can, through our studies, arrive to that logical conclusion. All right. To know what the everlasting gospel of Allah is. That's the conclusion for those who want to act slow. Anyway, 41. What is the everlasting gospel? It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. 42. What is the covenant of the great God Allah? Answer. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earthland, which the Lord thy God Allah hath given thee. Notice it says father and mother. Not either or one over the other, but both. So, just some more things to keep in mind. 43. At what age did Jesus begin to teach? Or Yehoshua begin to teach? Answer, at the age of 12. All right. 44. Where did he teach? Answer, India, Africa, and Europe. All right. 45. How long did he teach? Answer, 18 years. All right. And we're going to get into some of that too. What was going on during that 18 years when Jesus began to teach, and then when he shows up and gets baptized by John the Baptist, right? Or the harbinger. Yeah, I said that right. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, 46. What did Jesus say that would make you free? Answer, truth. 47. What is truth? Answer, truth is ought. 48. What is ought? Ought is Allah. 49. Can truth change? Answer, truth cannot change or pass away. 50. What other name do we give to truth? Answer, holy breath. All right. 51. What have you to say about the holy breath? Answer, all we can say is, it is great, it is good, it was, it is, and evermore to be. Amen. Or amen, depending on how you want to say it. 52. At what place on earth was the physical part of man formed? Answer, in the Garden of Eden. 53. Where is the Garden of Eden? Answer, in the land of Canaan, in the city of Mecca. 54. What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden? Answer, Mecca. All right. 55. What is the name of the first physical man? All right, the first physical man. Answer, his name cannot be used. His name cannot be used only by executive rulers of the AC of the MST of A. 56. What are the words AC of the MST of A? Answer, adept chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And in parentheses it says third heaven. All right. 57. Who were Adam and Eve? Answer, they are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims. 58. Where did they go? Answer, they went into Asia. All right. Talking about Adam and Eve. Where did they go when they were exiled from the Garden of Eden? According to number 58 here, it says they went into Asia. All right. And we know, just generally, if we've been studying, that at one point all of the land masses were one, and all of them were known collectively as Asia. All right. Y'all pardon me. All right. So, like I was saying before, at one point all of the continent was together, and it was known as Asia, or Asia Minor, Asia Major, and Asia Minor. As well as you want to get into geography, Asia Nord and Asia Sur for north and south. All right. 59. Keep in mind too that the maps or the map of Monday got flipped. So just some things to keep in mind in our studies. 59. What is the modern name given to their children? Answer, Asiatics. So this is another reason why Moors, you often sometimes identify ourselves as Asiatics or Asiatic Muslims. All right. 61. What is the modern name for those angels? Oh, let me back up. 60. Sorry. Pardon me. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away? Answer, angels. 61. What is the modern name for those angels? Answer, Asiatics. All right. So now do you see the correlation between 59 and 61? All right. 62. What is the shade of their skin? Answer, olive. All right. And go back to the past classes if or go look up all the different, versions and colors or shades that olives come in. All right. And if you're an Asiatic or you're a Muslim or you claim to be melanated, I'm pretty sure that you can find an olive or a shade of olive that is close to your skin pigment. All right. Or pigmentation. 63. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels? All right. Those angels that we call Asiatics, that's guarding the holy city of Mecca that we talked about at number 60. All right. 63. Are the Moorish Americans any relation to those angels? Answer, yes. We all have the same father and mother. All right. 64. Give 5 names that are given to the descendants of Adam and Eve. Answer, Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. 65. What is the devil sometimes called? Answer, the lower self. All right. 66. How many selves are there? Answer, 2. 67. Name them. Answer, higher self and lower self. Those are the 2 selves that they're referring to in 66. So now, there's a correlation between 66 and 67. All right. There's a connection there. All right. As well as 66. 69. What people represent the lower self? Answer, those who were cast out of the holy city and those who accept their teaching. 70. What is the higher self? Answer, the higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Islam, we're talking about those things or virtues of the higher self. So let me read that again. What is the higher self? So what is it? When we talk about the higher self, when we're referencing the higher self, what is it? What is it? What's the complexion or the constitution or makeup of it? All right. Answer, the higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Islam, let me just look this up right quick. Islam, so I really wanted to do this right quick for those who may not have access to the technology and such. I'm using the dictionary.com app, and I just looked up virtue, and I'm looking at the origin and history section here for guys, for you guys and gals who want to look this up on your own. Essentially, this is like the etymon section. So it says, and this is for virtue, all right? Early 13th century, quote, moral life and conduct, moral excellence. Virtu from Anglo-French and Old French, virtu from Latin, virtutem, all right? Moral strength, manliness, valor, excellence, worth, from ver, man, see virile, phrase by virtue of early 13th century perseveres, alternative Middle English sense or ME sense of efficacy. Wycliffe Bible has virtue where KJV uses power. So if you're talking about the Biblos Heliotheque, the Wycliffe Bible has the word virtue in it, whereas the KJV or the King James Version uses the word power. All right. So when the prophet says, Moors, good is your power, keep that in mind. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right. So moving on, it says the 7 cardinal virtues, early 14th century, were divided into the natural. In parentheses, it says justice, prudence, temperance, fortitude, and the theological, in parentheses, it says hope, faith, charity. All right. So, virtue could be explained in justice. Virtue could be explained in prudence. Virtue could be explained or seen or experienced through temperance. Virtue can be seen, explained, or experienced through fortitude. All right. As well as seen, explained, and experienced through justice or prudence as well. And then in theological sense, virtue is made up, can be experienced and explained through hope, faith, and charity. All right. To make a virtue of a necessity, late 14th century, translate late Latin, facere de necessitate virtutem, or virtutem, pardon me. And that's just, quick etymon on it. You guys can check it out. Now this is interesting. Since we were talking about angels and everything, number 7 right here. Notice the 7th definition right here. It says virtues, an order of angels. Compare angel. All right, and I think I'll just leave that there for you guys, for that note. All right, just some things to keep in mind. So let me just read this again. For those who may have just been joining us. 70. What is the higher self? Answer, the higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life, and breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. All right. 71. Can the higher self pass away? All right. Answer, no. All right. 72. Why? Answer, because it is Allah in man. Islam. And, getting more into the metaphysics, if you want, if you guys want to have that discussion, we know that man or consciousness, which is, which controls man and the thoughts and whatnot of the brain, in the physical sense, we only exist in this physical, third dimension reality because we are energy and light, light and sound being condensed and slowed down to a point that we can be visible and we can interact in this, this space. with each other and with other, third dimensional beings. But we know, of course, via the pineal gland, third eye, first eye, depending on how you want to look at it, we still have a connection with those other frequencies and those other levels of being, Islam. So, when we're talking about why the higher self cannot pass away, because it's Allah and man, and we know that Allah is, supposed to be God, or, depending on where you're coming from with it. This is a higher, this is the highest level of energy. This is the creative force that we're talking about. And that same creative force dwells within every, man and womb man. All right. But those powers, those energies were separated and delineated based on sex, for the sake of conversation. So you have the sex of male and the sex of female for the sake of conversation. All right. You could insert it however you want to, flip it however you want to in terms of the language, but I'm just trying to convey the message right now. All right. If y'all got any questions or comments, talk to me in the comment section or send us an email. 73. What does the lower self breed? All right. So we talked about the higher selves, but we need to know of our higher self and lower self. So what is, like the prophet said, so 73, what does the lower self breed? It breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. Islam. And let's just look up slander for a second. 1 second. Islam. So pulling up the term slander, we're looking at Black's Law, 4th edition, and we're talking about, question number 73, what does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms, right? So when we talk about slander, we pretty much all understand hate. Everybody understands hate. You got your haters out there and whatnot. We know what lewdness is for the most part. Murders, somebody's dead or gets killed. Theft, that's when you take something. But slander is one of those things that I think it happens, more often than we realize. And if we're not careful, we could be guilty of these things. And, somebody could actually file charges against us and, seek damages, of any amount, depending on how bad, the case is. But just looking at the definition here in Black's Law, 4th edition, page 1559, if you want to follow along, it says the speaking of base and defamatory words tending to prejudice another in his reputation, office, trade, business, or means of livelihood. Oral defamation, the speaking of false and malicious words concerning another whereby injury results to his reputation. An essential element of slander is that slanderous words be spoken in presence of another than person slandered, and publication is always material and issuable fact and action for slander. All right. Hence, an oral defamation heard only by one who does not understand the language in which it is spoken is not slander. All right. And then it further goes on to say libel and slander are both methods of defamation. So really, libel and slander, when we're talking about slander, we're really talking about defamation or defamatory actions. All right. Or things that would defame one's character or harm one's reputation, office, trade, business, or means of livelihood. Islam. And more specifically, let me just read this again. It says libel and slander are both methods of defamation, the former being expressed by print. So libel is expressed by print, writing, pictures, or signs. The latter by oral expression. So slander is oral, libel is what's written. All right, just for understanding. All right. Now, slander, and oftentimes you will find instances of libel and slander being mixed and construed together and published as, one act. All right. But keep in mind that each act, the act of printing or writing something down and then the act of, saying it are separate from the actual act of printing that thing that you wrote down and then publishing it for the public at large. All right. And we can get into this a little bit later, either today or in other demonstrations if you guys need, further demonstration on, slander and slanderous statements. But I just want to read this. I really wanted to get to this slander of title. All right, because as Moors, we have the titles of Ills and Bey, and other titles that we carry, and with those titles come certain duties, obligations, responsibilities. All right, we know that there's certain offices that we're supposed to be upholding and maintaining. All right, being the Ills and the Beys, meaning the lawgivers, being the Ills, and the law enforcers. All right, just for the simple sake of conversation, let's get into slander of title. All right, it says a false and malicious statement, oral or written, made in disparagement of a person's title to real or personal property, or of some right of his causing him special damage. All right, jumping down, it says malice, quote unquote, as essential element of slander of title, purports an intention to vex, injure, or annoy another person. All right, to vex, injure, or annoy another person. Talking about, this is what we're talking about, malice. All right, how do you prove malice? Does the slanderous statement seem to have an intention to vex the target or the injured party? Does the statement seem to cause injury? Or does the statement seem to have an intention to cause injury or an intention to annoy the person? All right. These are the things we want to consider, Moors, when we're talking about 73 here and the hatred and the slander in particular. All right. And then furthermore, goes on to say here at the bottom, it says, it is not an action for defamation of character of the person and is therefore distinguishable from ordinary libel or slander, which is more appropriate to the defamation of the character of an individual. All right. An action for quote unquote slander of title is maintainable only by one who possesses an estate or interest in the property. So with that, I just want to say, if you don't have any skin in the game, there's no slander of title. All right, you can't really get offended if you don't have any skin in the game. All right. So, and let me just read this: slanderous per se. All right. Slanderous in itself. Words falsely spoken of another are slanderous per se only when they impute the commission of a crime involving moral turpitude, impute the existence of a loathsome and infectious disease, employment, or impute unfitness to perform the duties of an office or employment, prejudice in a profession or trade, or tend to disinherit him. Words which are slanderous without proof of special damages. To consider slander per se, the published statement must be susceptible of but one meaning. All right? So it must be clear what that meaning is when they make the statement, all right, or the slanderous statement. So, I'm just touching on some things. We can get into it in this lesson. We might, like I said, we might get into it in another lesson, depending on how we go today. 74, and pardon me if you guys are just, you just came here to hit the one-on-ones. I apologize, for making that, making that little side note there. But we have to emphasize certain things here to remind others, what time it is. We'll just leave it like that. So 74, what did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him? Answer, where are you going, Satan? So this is the higher self talking to the lower self. 75, what was the answer that the lower self gave to the higher self? Answer, I am going to and fro the earth seeking whom I may devour. Islam. And unfortunately, we had, with the advent of this electrifying age of information, the ability to state slanderous statements and make, print libelous statements, it goes, beyond what any previous peoples could have even considered. All right. So, we're dealing with a different beast here. All right. We're working with a different kind of monster here when we're talking about this electrifying age of information and how, things can get misconstrued and thrown out of context. All right. So 76, has he finished? And I just wanted to reiterate based on 75, if we would spend, even the fraction amount of time that we do in our lower self, going to and fro about the earth, seeking whom we could devour and whom we could embarrass, whose feelings we could hurt, trying to see who we could agitate today, who we could aggravate today. If we, instead of spending all that time, being petty and dwelling in our lower selves, if we just spent a little bit of that time, doing the work that we were supposed to be doing, or focused on the higher self, or truly understanding our lower self and our higher self, all right, we may be more productive. I'm almost 99.9% sure that we will be more productive in our Moorish affairs. Right? If you're not worried about Moorish affairs, then don't worry about it, or our personal affairs, our family affairs. You could apply this across the board, really. If we were minding our business and taking care of our own stuff and, tending to our own gardens rather than trying to tend to the gardens of our neighbors, trying to pull their weeds out, we would be a lot better off as a people. I'm pretty sure of this. And I think that we would eliminate over 75% of the conflict that we have, But I digress, Apologies for like I said, for those who just came here to hit the 101s, I apologize. But the spirit, mother is leading me, today. I'm just going to let her lead me. So, 76, has he finished his task of devouring? Answer, yes. 77, when was his time declared out? Answer, when he nailed Jesus on the cross. 78, what are the last words Jesus uttered? Answer, it is finished. 79, what did he have reference to? Answer, he had reference to the end of Satan. All right. When Jesus uttered it is finished, he was referencing Satan. So that's 78, 79. 80, did Jesus say that he would return to conquer him? Answer, yes. 81, what is the name of the person into whom Jesus was first reincarnated? Answer, Prophet Muhammad the Conqueror. All right. 82, was Satan to be bound then? Answer, Satan was to be bound in part. 83, when was the head of Satan taken off? Answer, 1453, Byzantine. 84, by whom? Answer, by Muhammad. 85, name some of the marks that were put upon the Moors of Northwest by the European nations in 1774. Answer, Negro, black, colored, and Ethiopian, or Ethiopia. Pardon me. 86. All right. What is meant by the word Negro? Answer, Negro, comma, a name given to a river in Northwest Africa by the Moors because it contains black water. All right. So it'd be Negro, Niger, depending on your dialect. All right. Just like I had a question, let me, just take this short note. I had a question in the comment section about, how I pronounce my title, El or El. All right. Some people pronounce it El. Some pronounce it El. And when you study etymology, you find out that, where, depending on where you are in the world, where you're, located, dialects, tend to develop based on the common usage of that area. All right. And at the end of the day, if you truly are a linguist, then it's really up to you. It's your decision. All right. So, no browbeating involved. We just making some corrections, making some points today, with these things, and trying to answer some questions that we've been getting in the comments as well. So, we're gonna keep going here. 87. What is meant by the word black? Answer, black, according to science, means death. Islam. And we know black, once it oxidizes, and if you leave it, you leave it out for so long, it'll start to turn black. It'll get darker and darker and darker. All right. Why is that? Because black, according to science, means death. Islam. That blood or that life force fluid, those platelets and red blood cells, once they die, they change colors. Islam, and you know, if you've ever seen a dead body after a while, it's gonna change colors. Islam, it's gonna turn black eventually, you know, and rot out. But I digress. Anyway, 88. What does the word colored mean? Answer: colored means anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. Islam. 89. What does Ethiopia mean? Answer: Ethiopia means something divided. All right. 90. Can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? Islam. Now, keep in mind that the prophet, when in the oral statements and prophecies, he stated that, you know, I've given you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and go save yourselves. All right. And for the sake of conversation, when he said this, and it says it in there, it says he was holding up the Moorish Holy Quran, Circle 7, all right, as well as the 101s. All right. See if I got that in the camera. All right. So Circle 7, 101 said, take these documents and go save yourselves. Islam. So if we're saying, you know, and the prophet said enforce the Constitution and whatnot, and as far as his works and everything, the 101s, number 90, can a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? Islam. And the answer, it says, is no. It's no. You can't be. You can't be a river that contains black water in Africa. I mean, you could be a physical object. You know, you could identify yourself as that, but in fact, based on logic, are you that? Right? Is that a proper designation? Or are you a man or a womb man? You know, a woman. Womb man, you know, man with a womb. Anyway. Vice versa, you know, depending on how you want to look at it. It really doesn't matter right now. We're talking about number 90. Can a man be a Negro, black, or colored, or Ethiopian? Answer: no. So if you got Moors out here, you know, trying to interpret and feds, trying to put you back into slavery and call you, you know, out your name, out of your given title that you have recognized for yourself, and you've put it in writing and placed it on a public record, you know, they may be trying to put you back into slavery. Just keep this in mind. You know, they might be dwelling in their lower self, you know, with their slanderous statements and their hatred and their lewdness. All right. Seeking to murder, seeking to harm, or cause, you know, to bring about theft of one's birthright status. All right. And we talked about, you know, libel and slander. This is something that would cause harm to your character. All right. Or your position, i.e. status. Just keep this in mind. And we, like I said, we're going to get into this today. 91, why? Because man is made, so this is answering number 90. So why can't a man be a Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian? Answer: why? Because man is made in the image and after the likeness of God, comma, Allah. So when you honor man, you honor Allah. When you dishonor man, you dishonor Allah, which is your creator. All right. And the prophet, you know, he came, he said it was a divine and national movement. All right. We can't negate one for the other. We have to look at them as brother and sister, you know, on equal footing. Islam, both of them are important. Both of these principles are important. The divine side as well as the national side. You know, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater over here. And, you know, to the phrase namaste, which basically means the God in me recognizes, honors, and respects the God in you. To all my haters, you know, and all the haters out there, I still say namaste, you know. Peace and love. Islam. All right. 92. And I'm very sincere about that. You know, we all fall short of the quote unquote glory of God or Allah. You know, and we've all sinned. We've all been ignorant at some point. But, you know, I think the true measure of a man or woman is, like MLK said, and I'm paraphrasing, it's not where we stand in times of comfort, but in times of controversy. All right. And and MLK also said, and I'm kind of foreshadowing here, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. All right. I'm going to say it again. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. All right. 92. What title does Satan give himself? Answer, God. 93. Will you define the word white? Answer, white means purity. Purity means God, and God means the ruler of the land. All right. So, we're talking about this in the context of the one-on-ones. White means purity. Purity means God, and God means ruler of the land. But I often, sometimes hear people convolute the phrase, and they'll call themselves white, when without qualifying the status, all right, and making the clear distinction between white, the definition of white coming out of this being the one-on-ones, and the definition of free white person in Black's Law 4th edition, dictionary, legal and lawful dictionary. All right. And we'll get into that a little bit later as well. All right. We'll hit that again today for sure. And if I don't, y'all remind me, if I forget some kind of way, if I forget, I'll just put it on the screen. Anyway, 94, to whom do we refer to at times as being the great God, Allah? As being the great God? Answer, Allah. Pardon me. Let me read it again. 94. To whom do we refer at times as being the great God? All right. I'm talking about the great God. The great God. Who is the great God? Answer, Allah. All right. 95. Is the devil made in the image and likeness of Allah? Answer, no. He is the shadow of our lower selves and will pass away. 96. Who made the devil? Answer, Elohim. 97. Who is Elohim? Answer, Elohim is the 7 creative spirits that created everything that ever was, is, and evermore to be. 98. What is Elohim sometimes called? Answer, 7 eyes of Allah. All right. 99. How many days are in the circle? Answer, 7 days. 100. How many days are in a creation? Answer, 7 days. 101. According to science, how many days are in a year? Answer, 7 days. Islam. So, that was the reading of the one-on-ones, the one-on-one questionnaire for Moorish American, or the, Quran questions for Moorish children, depending on, how you're looking at it. If you're looking at the cover or if you're looking at the inside, all right. And, check out the last class that we did where we went into more detail with the questionnaire and the additional laws for Moorish Americans. But today we've got some other stuff that we want to get to. All right, Islam. So just to get some things into the record, we're coming out of the Moorish Holy Quran, Circle 7. All right, we're back. Pardon me. We're coming out of the Moorish Holy Quran, Circle 7, chapter 15. And it says, Divine Ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subjected to 3 temptations, he overcomes, returns to the camps of John and begins teaching. The harbinger had paved the way. The logos had been introduced to men as love made manifest, and he must now begin his divine ministry. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note its strength and worthiness. And with Allah himself he talked. He said, quote, my lower self is strong. By many tides I am bound down to cardinal life. For I, verse 4 of Surah 4, have I the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice for men? 5. When I shall stand before the face of men and they demand a proof of my messiahship, what will I say? 6. And then the tempter came and said, if you be the son of Allah, command these stones to turn to bread. 7. And Jesus said, who is it that demands a test? it is no sign that one is a son of Allah because he does a miracle. The devils can do mighty things. All right, so even the devils got a little magic. They can still do mighty things. All right. And I'm digressing, but it says 8. Did not the Gentile magicians do great things before the Pharaoh? All right. Quote, my words and deeds in all the walks of life shall be the proof of my messiahship. All right. And for verse 8, where it's talking about the Gentile magicians did not the Gentile magicians do great things before the Pharaoh? Go back into the Bibliothek and the story of Moses. All right. And the part where he and the Pharaoh, the magicians and the wise men were doing their magic, and they were casting things out and turning their staffs into snakes and all of that. This is what they were alluding to when they had the little, the competition. My words and deeds in all the walks of life shall be the proof of my messiahship. 10. And then the tempter said, quote, if you will go into Jerusalem and from the temple pinnacle cast down yourself to earth, the people will believe you are the Messiah sent from Allah. 11. Basically sound like he told him to jump off a bridge, and if you live, then you're the Messiah. 11. This you can surely do. For did not David say, quote, he gives his angels charge concerning you, and with their hands will they uphold lest you shall fall. 12. And notice how the devil or the tempter, as it says here, is tempting Jesus by using certain, biblical terms or certain laws or concepts that should be familiar to all those who study, but they're using them to twist it to try to, get Jesus off of his square. All right. It says, and Jesus said, I will not tempt the Lord, my God, Allah. 13. And when the tempter said, look forth upon the world, behold its honors and its fame. Behold its pleasures and its wealth. 14. If you will give your life to these, they shall all be yours. So the tempter said, oh, give your life to the honors and the fame. Give your life to the pleasures and the wealth that the world has to offer. And if you do, they'll be yours. And it doesn't that sound like, similar to what they call selling your soul to the devil, or selling your soul to Satan, or making a deal with the devil. You trade your honor and your respect or your covenant with God Allah, to trade that for these earthly honors, fame, the pleasures and the wealth. Isn't that what they always selling? Isn't that the selling point? Usually isn't that the bottom line? How much bread are you gonna get at your table? We're back. So let me just back up. 13. And then the tempter said, look forth upon the world, behold its honors and its fame. Behold its pleasures and its wealth. 14. If you will give your life to these, they shall be yours. 15. But Jesus said, away from me all tempting thoughts. My heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and its pride. Right? And, the carnal self is definitely full of vain ambition and pride. And oftentimes, it says pride comes before a mighty downfall. So, it's best to check your pride and keep your passions and desires within, circumspect within the bounds of righteousness. Anyway, yeah. 16. For 40 days, Jesus said, wrestle with his carnal self. Did wrestle with his carnal self. His higher self prevailed. Let me back up. 16. For 40 days, Jesus did wrestle with his carnal self. His higher self prevailed. He then was hungry, but his friends had found him and they ministered to him. 17. Jesus left the wilderness, and in the consciousness of holy breath, he came into the camps of John and taught. All right. And so with that, with this verse, chapter 15, verse 15 in mind, but Jesus said, away from me all tempting thoughts, my heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and its pride. All right, keep that in mind as we move forward to chapter 15 in the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, or what's known as the Red Book. All right. In chapter 15, it says Yehoshua passes the second brotherhood test. That's Jesus, for those who don't know. That's his real name, is Yehoshua. Yehoshua passes the second brotherhood test, justice. You know, Jesus is a misnomer. But anyway, and it means justice, just for those who are paying attention. But the image that they show you is Caesar Borgia. And then the older looking version with the full beard, that's Serapis. All right. But check it out. You know, look into it. Don't believe me. The Logos did not care to rest. He said, quote, "Why wait in this luxurious room? I need not rest. My Father's work upon me presses hard." All right. 1. I would go on and learn my lessons all. If there are trials, let them come. For every victory over self gives added strength. And then the God led on, and in a chamber, dark as night, was Yehoshua placed and left alone. And days were spent in this deep solitude. So Yehoshua had to, you know, again, he's spending time alone. All right. In the circle 7, he was spending time, you know, for self-examination. Here he's in solitude, going through the various tests, you know, with the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood. All right. And Yehoshua slept, and in the dead of the night, a secret door was opened, and in priest attire, 2 men came in, each carrying in his hand a little flickering lamp. Notice the symbology here. They were dressed in priestly attire, carrying little flickering lamps. All right. Very, very small lamps. 4. Approaching Yehoshua, one spoke out and said, quote, "Young man, our hearts are grieved because of what you suffer in these fearful dens." Notice what they called it. These fearful dens. "And we have come as friends to bring you light and show the way to liberty." All right. Didn't the tempter kind of come at him like he was trying to do him a favor, like he was trying to do something to help him? Keep in mind the story here. All right, and the correlation that when we get to it, and especially when we get to verse 15 here. Just keep that in mind. Approaching Yehoshua, one spoke out and said, "Young man, our hearts are grieved because of what you suffer in these fearful dens, and we have come as friends to bring you light and show the way to liberty." Surah 5. "We once, like you, were in these dens confined, and thought that these weird, uncanny ways, we once, like you, were in these dens confined, and thought that through these weird, uncanny ways, we could attain to blessedness and power." All right. 6. But in a luckful moment, we were undeceived, and making use of all our strength, we broke our chains. And then we learned that all this service is corruption in disguise. All right. And you'll notice how, those who are on the sidelines who watch you work, they might say, "Oh, you're working in vain. Oh, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do it this way. Oh, you're supposed to do it that way." They're saying that this service is corruption in disguise. This work that we're doing is corruption in disguise. These priests are criminals, just hid away. 7. They boast of sacrificial rites. They offer to their gods and burn them while alive, poor birds and beasts, yea, children, women, and men. 8. And now they keep you here, and at a certain time may offer you in sacrifice. 9. We pray you, brother, break your chains. Come go with us, accept of freedom while you may. 10. And Yehoshua said, quote, your little tapers show the light you bring. Pray, who are you? The words of man are worth no more than is the man himself. 11. These temple walls are strong and high. How gained you entrance to this place? You know, for those who were saying they're part of the movement and whatnot, and they've gained certain, you know, positions and accolades, you know, grand sheikesses and such on and so forth, these various titles and positions, you know, ask them how by did you gain entrance to this place, right? Into this movement. How did you get here? You know, what way did you come by? What path did you tread? Right? Or what master, you know, were you following? All right. 12. The men replied, quote, beneath these walls are hidden ways. Right? Notice they came from a secret passageway, and now they're talking about hidden ways. And we who have been priests spent months and years within these dens and know all of them. Notice how they'll always, you know, refer to how much time they spent, you know, these people who are dressed in priestly attire in this particular story for context, but you can apply this, you know, to life. All right. They will often talk about how much time they spend in the movement and, you know, how they've seen all the walks of life, all the ways. But, you know, it's somewhere else in the literature. I believe it's in Circle 7. It says, you know, or somewhere else it may have been stated by a wise man. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, he who, you know, claims to know everything truly knows nothing. You know, or he who claims to know everything, in fact, knows nothing at all. All right. There's no way to know everything unless you are Allah or you're one with Allah, meaning that you're no longer, you know, present with us in the physical. But I digress. Anyway, 12, let me read it again. The men replied, let me back up to 11, right? These temple walls are strong and high. How gained you entrance to this place? 12, the men replied, quote, beneath these walls are hidden ways, and we who have been priests spent months and years within these dens and know all of them. 13, then you are traitors, said Joshua. A traitor is a friend who betrays another man, is never a man to be trusted, or is never a man to trust. 14, if one has only reached the plane of treachery, he is a lover of deceit and will betray a friend to save his selfish self. All right. So if somebody's only reached the plane of treachery, then they are, you know, by definition, a lover of deceit. And, you know, a thinking mind, a reasonable person would, you know, be aware that that person who is a lover of deceit would betray a friend just to save them their selfish selves. All right. And again, apply this across the board. All right. Behold, you men, or whatsoever you be. This is 15. Your words fall lightly on my ears. Islam. Let me read that again. For all those who can't hear, who don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. All right. Behold, you men, or whatsoever you be. Your words fall lightly on my ears. Meaning I can't hear you. It ain't making sense. What you're talking about, can't quite comprehend it. It's not lining up with what I know to be, you know, right, just, or ought. All right. 16, could I prejudge these 100 priests, turn traitor to myself and them because of what you say? When you confess your treachery. Islam, let's look up what it means to confess. Hold on.